is Think Tech Talks. So we're talking about technology, but also a little energy. And we're talking about impact investment in things like that. And I'm calling this show A New Age of Awareness in Impact Investment through the vision, if you will, of Gordon Fuller. Hi, Gordon.
Aloha. Good morning.
Good morning. So nice to have you here again at this table.
Honored.
And you brought somebody with you. His name is Dylan Lanius. Can you introduce him for me?
Well, my lovely friend Dylan has a very special mission. He's been working as an impact investor with a group of millennials who have chosen to impact the way financial markets operate and have been doing so with great skill and cunning. And so we're honored to have him here. He's been enjoying Hawaii.
Thank you, Gordon. Thank you, Dylan, for coming down.
Pleasure, Jay.
You're operating out of New York City. Gordon lives here. He has an advantage on you.
I'm afraid.
Dylan lives in New York City. What's it like in New York City doing impact investing there?
Well, the New York City pulse, as you know, is much quicker than it is in Hawaii. So it's a lot of fun because there's a constantly changing landscape of players, of people that are passionate about the space. Just the other day, the Wall Street Journal introduced a story on a very prominent big investor called JANA Partners, who I studied under. My university was with a partner at JANA Partners, co-founded the firm, and they've moved into impact investing. And they're a traditional asset manager, traditional investors. And so the landscape of impact investing is evolving quite quickly, and New York City is really the epicenter of that space.
So things are changing then, yeah. Wall Street is not so much Wall Street as it used to be Wall Street, eh?
Well, Wall Street's always looking for opportunity. It's always looking for where's the money and how can they get a piece of it, right? That's essentially the Wall Street way.
Without trying to affect, public policy.
They're just looking to make a buck.
Yeah.
And that's what impact investing relates to, is how do investors do well by doing good.
Mm-hmm. And so you are, what, the managing partner of something called Capital Management. What is that?
So we're a long-short public equity investment manager, and we look at publicly listed companies, how they are approaching environmental, social, governance problems, and then how business innovation and organizational change and regulatory policy shifts is affecting the pricing and valuation of those companies. And so we look for opportunities in the marketplace to buy and sell securities.
So you're not necessarily advising people, you're doing it. You are doing investment.
We're doing it on behalf of our investors, and we're working with companies to improve their performance around environmental, social, governance issues. So we engage with company managements, with boards of directors. We look to engage in the broader ecosystem as well, the stakeholders around a business, from customers to regulators to the general public, and help understand how forces, the change, the evolution in culture and society around what are the environmental problems, the social problems, the governance problems that are most pressing, and how those are being affected, and how these different participants in the marketplace and in the world are changing their behaviors, and then look to engage in ways where we can improve the environmental, social, governance outcome, improve state, and improve conditions.
Policy is determined by capital investment these days, more than before. Gordon, you've been following this for a long time. What's your sense of it these days?
Well, it's interesting. I've been looking ahead. That's my special area of focus. I'm a designer.
When you're into design, it's more than visual design. It's design of everything. Am I right?
Truly so. And in the world that I come from, the world of Buckminster Fuller, of science fiction, of people that push the envelope of mankind's endeavors, I sort of am looking for how we solve the unmet problems of our society, both environmental and human. And I think we're in such an age of miracles that it behooves us to recognize that things are changing very rapidly. My good, lovely colleague to my right here, Dylan, his group, Nexus, that he works with, is a group of young people that have looked ahead and say, we want to make an impact. We want to use our resources and our influence to make this a better world.
So the question I put to you, Dylan, is how much of the worldview that Gordon has expressed do you agree with?
The future is wide open with possibilities that we're bringing into the present. And so the choice of path for any one of us in pursuing a technology innovation to its culmination or to exploring the world through technology innovation and how we can come together and really develop this partnership with each other in the human realm of ideas and making those ideas real. This is part of the play that has been going on for the complete history of the human race. We think about the first technology, maybe that was a cooking pot, right? Being able to eat different kinds of food. Mastering fire, well, when it first happened, people got burned in that process, and some people, I'm sure, in that era said, hey, we shouldn't play with fire. And so we have that same thing occurring today with issues like synthetic biology, with cybernetics, with the integration of computer systems and human systems.
I'm going to ask you specifics on what you're doing with your big bucks, okay? So, Dylan, I'm looking at you. What do you got going? What can I learn from you about your investments these days? What are you investing in?
So right now, I'm investing in situations where, as an investor, I can actively influence the outcome of the company's development because the company needs or has a need for strategic advice that can help it resolve an ongoing organizational challenge or business challenge for it.
Okay, Gordon, what about you now? We have a couple of minutes left. I'd like a similar kind of analysis from you on some investment you've made, with due regard for impact investing.
Well, I'm very interested at the local level on how we can solve some of the really perplexing problems. Hawaii imports $450 million worth of oil every year to generate power using diesel electric generators through a big grid. I'm interested in microgrids. You hear that, Hiko? And we believe in people like John Petrie and Natural Power Concepts, and we're helping them to look ahead and see how they can apply their technologies from windmills, water turbines, ocean buoy systems, desalination systems. We see a big future for companies like this, and we're helping them to shape themselves for that market opportunity. Working with another company which is called Solar Skyways, which would put solar panels leasing the space from the government over the roads and streets. These roadway spaces would then be given solar panels on poles, either from the center islands or the sides, and then underneath those solar panels would be little tracks on which computerized cars could be driven automatically. Computerized cars traveling from fixed bus routes, perhaps, but once you're in motion in that car, it never slows down until you get to your destination. You can also use it for overhead handling of freight. When we look at Puerto Rico and we see how devastated they were, how their power grid isn't back up yet, and interesting enough, under the current administration there in Puerto Rico and Washington, they're required to put the same poles back in place, the very same power infrastructure. Not a new one, not a Tesla-style battery-operated solar plant, but an old-style coal-fired power plant. So that's kind of ridiculous. And here in Hawaii, we look at that and we say, well, if we had along our riparian areas, along the river areas, the ahupuahas, along the shorelines, instead of the roads we have, we could have solar pod cars that would zip along on these tracks and be able to move goods and equipment. And in the event we have an impending storm, we could disassemble it, stow it away, ride out the storm. Afterwards, put it all back in place, have a power grid, have communications, have emergency services. So that's a really important one. Food security, breadfruit could change things here on the island. A lot of things we do. We could reduce our importing of food items. We're looking at that. New entrepreneurial opportunities for local products and goods in the world market. We're looking ahead to new watercraft. I have an electric watercraft I'm introducing here in Hawaii this month, a little recreational thing for pools and rivers and outdoor calm waterways where people could ride about on this 5-foot disc and enjoy themselves in an electric watercraft. And we have quite a few things we've been doing, looking at local industries and spinning things up and finding new ways to improve the quality of life. One of the things I've been working on for years with the vision systems is how we can do wayfinding and navigation on a improved basis. As you know, GPS is kind of not working very well, and now using the camera in your smartphone, I can tell you exactly where you're standing and give you information about whatever you're looking at. Truth is, we could empty out the museums by pasting all over geospatially the information, the historical material, the songs, the art. wherever you happen to be. So when you're standing at a point in Waikiki, you could see how it used to look in the turn of the century, 2 centuries ago. You could understand more about the environment.
What's your advice to people about what they should be doing? The people who are not invested,
Look
the
them right
people
in
who
the eye.
understand the problem but are not invested.
Become engaged, and become engaged in your community. Become engaged in the world of ideas. Be creative. Think about who you are and what you are. You've been called into existence. You're a fountain of matter from the Milky Way galaxy. Here we are. And what do we do with that opportunity? You know, what is reality? What counts? It's the clouds in the sky, the water in the sea, the land in which we live, the Aina. Those are the things that are the most important things in life.
Okay, I'm taking out my checkbook. Thank you, Dylan. Great discussion. Gordon, great discussion.
My brother.
My brother. All right, you guys.
Thanks for having us today.
Thank you so much for being here. We'll see you again soon, right? Yes.